Yes, sir. So we'll start with the session. So the first thing, yes, okay, we'll start with one small recap with what we have studied yesterday. So we started with the chapter number 3. Okay, I hope you are also making note. You are making rough chart like this. So what do we have in this chapter number 3? We have got essay 300, then essay 600, then essay 610, essay 620, essay 540, and essay 520. So I can say we have got 5 concepts. So we started with essay 500. All of the standards are in the form of in the format of a standard only, but essay 500 has been given to you in a different way. Okay, first they started with the audit life cycle. So start with the so your life cycle start with the preparations, a planning, preparation, you perform, and or you report and follow up. So based on this life cycle, one picture they give from nowhere, they have designed this chapter into 4 broad areas. The first broad area, what you have got is called audit planning. In this, now they have discussed about different concepts. First of all, what is the nature of the planning? What is the objective of planning? Objective of planning is your audit is performed effectively. What is the nature? So it is a continuous and iterative process. It requires discussion with the management. It requires the discussion with the team members. So you may have to change it from time to time. So these are all the nature. Now one more question came like, can you apply the same audit planning for everyone? No. Nature and extent differs because of its size and complexities, because of the circumstances, and because of the conditions. Then we discussed whose responsibility is to plan. It is auditor's responsibility, but they have to discuss with the management so that management can make appropriate considerations, like okay, when you are going to plan, they can make arrangements and all, but you should not compromise with the what is it called confidentiality, or you have to maintain that unpredictability. The next element is preliminary engagement activity. So when you talk about a preliminary engagement activity, we have got actually 3. One, essay 220, client 20, acceptance, ethical requirements, understanding of the engagement terms as per essay 210. When we talk about essay 220, client acceptance, we have to obtain information about integrity, competency, and your ethical requirements. And then you need to consider the significant matters which has happened in the previous audit and all. So these are all the aspects you need to cover. So in essay 210, in final, we saw one Q&A. What is that? What should be the elements when you are considering, you say that you are considering the engagement terms and conditions. What should be your considerations? What you should be seeing there? There are 5 mandatory elements like objective and scope of audit, responsibility of the management, responsibility of the auditor, form and content, and expected timelines. Financial reporting framework. So these are all the 5 aspects you need to consider in essay 210. So this is where, and then one question comes, can we change? Yes, because of change in the circumstances, because of the change in the situations. Okay, this is what we discussed in the last. Changes in the conditions, unexpected events can happen, or you may get new evidence. Unexpected events or new evidence. Then what is that you are going to document? You are going to document nature, timing, and extent of your risk assessment procedure, further audit procedure, and other procedures. So this is all we discussed at the planning stage. In the life cycle, we say this starts with. Second thing is about the strategy, audit strategy. Like what are the factors you should consider while fixing the strategy? Actually, strategy starts first. At this point, what they have discussed in the standard, this comes after strategy. Okay, in the study material, they have organized it in the planning content only. Now, there are 5 elements which you need to consider while fixing the strategy. The third element comes about the audit program. Because once you have considered certain things, you understood what is planning, why planning is important. One more thing, why planning is important, that also we discussed. Now once you have understood this, what is strategy, what is planning, why it is important, then you have to draft the audit program. What is a program? Sequential activities like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. This is a program. So you have to, since you know what is your procedures you are going to perform, what type of activities you are going to do at the client location, when you are going to do, that's what we discussed here: nature, timing and extent. What type of audit procedure, when, and to what extent. So you will be in a better position to do audit program. And the fourth one is called audit execution. Now execution also again goes into certain activities called execution planning. Okay, we'll discuss that later. What is the execution planning and how it is different from audit planning? Then perform test, report. Okay, so these are all the 3 or 4 elements. One more thing is you have to report and see, maybe follow up or something. No, reporting is the last one. Okay, we'll see that. So these are all the overview of SA 300. So SA 300 has been incorporated in these 4 broad areas or steps or phases or activities. So you cannot fix this unless you understand what is planning. You cannot make the program unless you have done both. And unless you have got an audit program, how can you execute audit? So this is how they have explained to you this concepts. I hope you are clear about every aspects what we have discussed yesterday. Okay. So today we will proceed further. We'll try to understand something different. What is strategy? See, strategy is the roadmap. Okay, it is like a broad outline. And primarily, why strategy comes into picture? What is the fundamental purpose of a strategy? Is money. Because everything revolves around money. So when we say strategy, strategic management, we are telling our vision, business goal. So since your every single activity is going to cost you money, I told you example of Jodha Akbar. Okay, Akbar, see, he has to choose either the marriage or war. Both will cost him. So now he will have a lot of thinking, okay, possibilities, second level thinking, okay, thought processes going on, thought experiments happen in his mind. What if this happens? What if this happens? If I do this, do this. So primarily they're trying to conserve their resource. Okay, so now let us understand what are that overall strategy and what are the factors we need to keep in mind while framing the overall strategy. So in the first part number 1, we have understood what is planning. What does a planning includes? And that the last element, what is that you include in the planning? Nature, timing, extent, no? Okay, this particular part only, students. Okay, this contents of an audit plan. This should follow after strategy. Okay, if you open the barrack and see, this is what comes after. Anyhow, I hope we are okay. Now, first question comes, what are the factors will you consider while establishing the overall audit strategy? Now, audit strategy includes determination of the characteristics of the audit, like identifying the characteristics that engagement defines the scope. Okay, so I can say something inbuilt. I can again go back to my previous example, like marriage has to happen. Preliminary engagement happens now. Like I can say something like this. First, the kundali will be matching happens. Okay, boy and see the girls see each other, the family members meet together. Okay, and with this, no, you have obtained all the information about you. You know what is your competency. Okay, is it ethically it is fine. Then we will hold the engagement. This engagement process is called a preliminary engagement in our audit plan. So once the engagement is done, you will fix the date for a marriage. It's not so easy job, no. Because people only have said in Kannada, we have said, mane katti nodu. To have a marriage function organized is a very, very big task. Huh? Okay, today's day it may be a bit different because you have got a lot of event management companies and so many things. You just pay some lump sum amount, they only will organize everything. But once upon a time, if you think about conducting a marriage, from day one preparation starts. It's not so easy that you have by tomorrow only you have a marriage. Possible when in the court marriage or in temple and all you go finish done. But if you are planning for one marriage, okay, so what are the factors you consider? First, I can say something very similar. You consider the characteristics. Characteristic means something inbuilt. Like, okay, you belong to some religion, you belong to some caste, you have got practices, you have got some processes. So is it not that first thing you consider like how we should be conducting the marriage? Then what is your reporting objectives? Okay, ascertain the reporting objectives of the engagement to plan the timing of the audit and the nature of communications required. Okay, reporting I can say like whom all you need to call, whom you need to report, whom you need to invite. Like it's something like a high level thinking you need. Then what is the team efforts involved? Okay, so here the auditor's professional judgments are significant in directing the team effort. So you need to think now, so how much effort will be involved, who all will be my team members. Now considering the result of preliminary engagement activity, so whatever engagement, see after engagement what happened, I told you, girl and boy start to talk to each other. Now you have got better understanding about their family and also this factor also you need to consider here, because see students, it should not happen that you have done everything and on the day of the marriage, say for example, they say that no, we don't want this. All the resources are waste. Correct? So that's why if you feel that okay, this marriage proposal is not going to happen, that sign will be shown at the after the engagement only. So consider that preliminary engagement activities. And finally, you have to decide what is the nature of the resources required. Do you need a manpower? Do you need a money? What is the timing? When do I need? And to what extent I require those resources? That is what you need to broadly plan. So very important students, in your final, they have given you one test your knowledge 4 question where they talk about these 5 elements. And next is an expansion. What do you mean by characteristics? Okay. What do you mean by reporting objective? Okay. What do you mean by team effort? So these are all the things is going to get expanded in the subsequent para. Let us see this the 5 elements only, how they are going to ask you in the examination. Now, as an auditor of garment manufacturing company for last 5 years, you have observed that new venture of online shopping has been added to the company during the current year. That means you are already an experienced auditor. From past 5 years, you have been doing the audit. Okay, so the question is not about the rotation and all. This year, new venture has been added. Okay, so that means you must have been doing audit. Okay, a planning or a strategy, you must have been doing in one particular style, one particular way. Follow? Now, all of a sudden, you see that the condition has changed, which require change in plan. Let us see now. No, we are not yet seen the question now. So many things are going to your mind now. Now, what factors would be considered by you in formulating audit strategy? Okay, when you see this word audit strategy, you understand it is chapter number 3, concept number 1, sub-concept number 2. Now, should I connect? Now, one very fundamental question comes, should I connect to this case or should I talk about this very independently? Because it can be like this, there can be one very big case. But if you look this particular thing, did they ask you in the question in relation to the above case? Considering the above scenario? Have they told you? They didn't tell. So it is your wish. You can connect to the above scenario. You need not connect to the above scenario. So if you don't want to connect to the above scenario, because you can treat it as an independent question, but be careful. That's why I marked it as priority. What are the factors you will consider while writing strategy? Yes, characteristics of the engagement, reporting objective, team effort, preliminary engagement, and nature, timing, extent of the resources required. Now, if you see the suggested answer in test your knowledge, they have added something more. What are the specific factors for online shopping? So in the examination, you may expect that this question can be twisted in relation to online shopping. So in such cases, what you need to do, you need to have all these 5 elements written there. But some elements of this particular thing also, additional factors also you may have to written. You may have to write. Now, you see students, what is the answer they have given? As part of SA 315, have you studied at the final level? No, inter only it came. The auditor shall obtain understanding of the information system relevant to financial reporting and communication. Now it is an online shopping. So your entire organization structure is going to change. Previously, who used to, okay, when we talk about when we were selling, okay, we talk about the process called order to collection, O2C. Now, who was generating the customer order? Our people. Who was delivering? We used to do. Who was raising invoice? We used to do. But today, since it is an online shopping, the customer is only going to initiate. The server is located in the cloud. Automatic entry happens through an API. So that means entire information system has changed. So they said, what are the specific factors you will consider? So I will consider included in the business report because of the new venture, the classes of transaction which are significant to the financial statement, the procedures with which those transactions are initiated, recorded, processed, related accounting records, how information system captures events, controls around. Do you feel, students, have you seen this somewhere? Yes, one though it was there in SA 315, one of the component of internal control called financial reporting and communication information system. But if you observe SA 402, which we have already completed in chapter number 2, there is one question comes, whenever an organization outsources something to the third party, is that outsourced service is relevant to you? Please go back and check. These are all the same 5 points which would have come there in SA 420. So your answer should be having both. So be careful. I don't know what they may be asking you in the examination. Will they ask you audit strategy? Will they ask you the specific points for the information technology and communication point of view? That you have to figure out in the examination what exactly they may ask you. Okay, but now I hope you are clear. Like, this is the reason I marked it very important. You have to consider this question one day before. So accordingly, you twist your answer. So if they talk about audit strategy, you write this. And if they ask you, please comment that auditor did not consider, they can write a story for this. They can say that auditor didn't change it. Then you write something about the changes also. Okay, because one of the significant conditions have got changed. Previously, you are not into online. So you can say that auditor has to consider this, and auditor may have to change his strategy. Accordingly, he may have to change the plan also. Now, what got changed in this case? It got changed. Your characteristics of the audit engagement and its scope got changed. Not reporting objective is same. Okay, maybe efforts might have changed. Preliminary engagement may not be applicable. Okay, so you have to say that these are all the two things got changed because of the online venture. I hope it's clear, friends. Yes, so now we will move on. Now, what are the factors? Next, again, before we proceeding further, they asked you one more thing. What is the benefit of overall audit strategy? How it is beneficial now if you fix an audit strategy? So the process of establishing audit strategy is going to assist the auditor only, just like you have planned, you have got the benefits of planning. This time, no, see, they can confuse you. They can say, what is the benefit of overall plan? See, both are different. Benefit of plan is different, benefit of overall plan is different. Overall plan is nothing but an overall strategy. Again, I said to students, like, first, why somebody will have a strategy? Why somebody will plan? To see that whatever they have planned will get executed properly. That's why all the benefits will come. You have to talk from that point of view, from this execution point of view. But why strategy is beneficial? You need to talk it from the money point of view. Because strategy is designed for the sake of resource. That's why if you see the answer key, you see everywhere the word resource comes into picture. Very easy for you to remember. Okay, so I hope you are clear. So if they ask you what is the benefit of a strategy, you say that we can employ qualitative resources. Are we not considering the timing of the resources? Yes. So we can give quality resources now. Allocation of quantity. So one is quality, allocation of the quantity. So you have got limited number of people. You don't have an unlimited people there in the office. So you have to allocate at a very material location. Okay, you can plan their review. Okay, review of the other auditors in case of group auditors, or allocation of budgeted hours to high risk areas you can do. Then you can help, it will help in deciding timing of deployment of resources. I told you already, like your team has gone to one place. No work only, entire day sitting idle. No, your timing was wrong. You have got a fantastic quantity, you have got a fantastic quality, but if the timing is going to go for a toss, then loss of resource. You don't put quality resource, there is a loss to cash. You don't put sufficient quantity, it is going to take too much of time. Timing of the is wrong, okay, again you have got a risk. And ultimately it will help you to manage the resources, like how it should be directed, supervised, okay. When such briefing, debriefing meetings are expected to be held, how engagement partner and managements are expected to take place, like should it happen on site, off site, etc. Are you clear? Yeah, it's very easy. Now let us see one inter illustration question, because in final, no, they have not asked any questions on this. And this is their strategy, same chapter, same content they have given inter also. So now, since if this para was not there, we would not have bothered about it, because only MCQs you could have expected. But since in the final also they have given you this para, you have to be careful, because they can ask you this question now. Okay, they may not ask this question in the inter level. Now, what is that illustration question which is available in the inter related to this planning? Illustration 1. Yeah, very beautiful questions are there, students. Inter. Ah. Now, the auditor of T and H Fab Limited is worried as to the management of key resources to be employed to conduct the audit. See, from this particular word, you have to catch the word called the management of resources. So, when you plan, when you have got a problem with the management of the resources while conducting the audit. So, we are talking about the word resources, and they asked now how strategy would be helpful to you. This is their illustration question. And at the intermediate level only in the examination they asked you. And I always tell you, right, when you see such questions, a plane, this is the dog which doesn't bark now. See how they will ask you in the exam. But if this would have been a confusing question as a case study, they would have asked you same. The EFG was appointed as a statutory auditors. They have completed their risk assessment procedure. Engagement partner has completed at a 315 level. However, he is concerned about the management of human resources to be employed. Okay, it was a key resource here. Here they talk about the human resource to conduct the audit. Okay, so this resource is a keyword, because I don't think so any of the chapter this word is going to get repeated. For this purpose, he wants to establish an overall audit strategy. Okay, so from this you understood that this is from so and so chapter, and they are talking about the resources here, which defines the scope, timing, and direction of the audit. Describe how the process of establishing strategy will assist him in managing deployment of the human resources. Now you need to talk about the same topic, like which resources, amount of resources, when and how. See, this is how they are given at the intermediate level. Now, employment of the quantitative resource, qualitative resource, okay, which resource, amount of resource, quantity, timing, when, and how should be managed. Okay, management of resources, like how they need to be managed. Followed, no? How much, which, how much, when, and how to be managed. So these are all the 4 questions. I hope you are clear. Yes, so now we will go to the main part called your considerations, means special thoughts, deep thoughts when you establish the overall strategy. Now, the keep same thing in mind, friends. I give an example. A marriage has to happen. Now, the parents are, after the engagement is done, okay, or after the proposal is finalized. Now, the strategy starts now. Okay, both the parents will sit, include their team members. Okay, should we have a photo shoot? If the photo shoot is to be done, then where it should be done, who should be done, what type of resources, what should be the catering. There are so many things now. So many permutation combinations will take place. Now, what are the examples of matters auditor has to consider while establishing the overall strategy? Now, all the matters may not be relevant. So they are only examples, which is appearing as a may, not shall. If I go back, this is shall. Auditor shall include, verify all these five. But in that, what all the sub considerations? That is, they have given some examples. One, which is your financial reporting framework? That's what you need to understand. Like which religion you belong. Because your marriage, how you should do marriage, primarily your religion tells. Okay, there can be industry specific requirements. Like, okay, you belong to one religion, but you are in one particular place. In that particular place, for that religion, the practices can be a bit different. Similarly, first thing you see, what is your reporting framework? Am I supposed to prepare the financials as per the Companies Act, as per Banking Regulation Act, as per you? Is it an NBFC? Is this particular law is the Indies is applicable? You define your reporting framework now. Or am I finalizing this financial statement under Income Tax Act? Because all are your reporting frameworks now. Okay, once you are into a report, once you have finalized the reporting framework, understand, do I have any special report which is mandated by the industry regulators? Like in the beginning example, we have seen that fintech company. Since for a fintech company, there are two regulators. There is not only RBI, because finance comes into picture, but a Ministry of Electronics and Technology also comes into picture. They are governed by two people. So Ministry of this Electronics and Technology could have had some reporting requirements. Okay, for example, digital database for person having access to the books of account. Like for example, they may say that you need to maintain one database of those people who have got access to the books of accounts. Why? Because we want to figure out insider trading. Who may tell? SEBI may tell. Okay, so auditor may have to consider, and they may tell auditor whether such books are maintained, such digital database is maintained or not. So such requirements can be there, which auditor may have to consider. Expected audit coverage, including numbers and location of the components to be included. Like how many subsidiaries are there, how many branches are there. Okay, similarly we see how many family members are there, where all they are located. Okay, how to mobilize them, how to get them to my family thing. Or if I decide to take this to somewhere else, say I want to have my daughter's marriage in Rajasthan, so how to mobilize all these people from different locations? Don't we consider that at a strategy level? This is all like characteristics. This is a part of the engagement. The nature of the control relationships between the parent and its components, how the group has to be consolidated. Okay, what do you mean by the nature of the control relationship? Are you a subsidiary? Are you an associate? Or are you a joint venture? Now, accordingly, different types of reporting frameworks becomes applicable. How the consolidation works differently. So this is the factor you have to consider. The extent to which components are audited by other auditors. Okay, Baba, let's say 600 comes into picture. You have got 250 subsidiaries, but am I the auditor of all the 200 subsidiaries? Like how many components are audited by how many joint branch auditors? Is the entity using service organization? Because have you outsourced anything? Okay, are you not going to decide now? Should I outsource this to an event management company, or should we conduct it ourselves? We only will fix that caterer, we only will fix the hall, or should we entirely hand over to outsourcing company? So when you sit and think at a strategy level, you see which is better, which is cheaper, which is convenient. Now the expected use of the evidence obtained from the previous audits. Like for example, my first daughter, I have got two daughters. My first daughter marriage is completed. The first time, no, I didn't have much experience. I didn't knew. I had a lot of certain bitter experiences. Now, when my second daughter's marriage comes, should I not consider my previous experience? And that should I consider at the strategy level only? Because I should not end up with the same mistake. So, last moment, I should not say, oh, last year this happened. No, the strategy level only you figure out. Like last time, this hall I booked, this problem came. So, this thing I should be talking before only. The effect of information technology on the audit processes. Okay, what is the new technological developments have happened? Should I print the physical invitation card, or should I send the digital invitation card? Should I have an offline marriage, or should I have an online marriage? You have seen no online marriage is also happening. Different strategy only. Somebody sitting, live telecast will be done. Okay, and the availability of the client personnel and the data. Okay, all the people are available. Like, is my priest available on that day? Okay, should I find their availability also? Like these are all the factors you consider as part of the characteristics of that. This is the first stage. Then you go to the subsequent elements, and everything is talking about the resources. Okay, how much resource? Because based on this, now you have got one budget. Now you have got one amount to be allocated to this engagement. I hope I have explained it. Now let us see one inter-examination question, because in final you don't have right now no questions on the descriptive question, but you see the beautiful question they can ask you. How they can ask you here, or they can ask you MCQ form. Okay, so this question inter Jan 25 exam. Okay, so this we can examine. You see here, friends. AP and Co chartered accountants are of a listed company auditor. Okay, there is one listed company and somebody is the statutory auditor. Now, what is their name? Who are they? We don't know. Now, there is a guideline given by the regulatory authority that every listed company is required to maintain digital database of all the people who could access to the books of accounts to avoid insider trading. And please see, when they have asked this question in the Jan 25, because just like for final, I have got the database of all the questions from the whatever questions till now it has come. And I find this is the brand new question they have asked in the examination question. It is not some repetition of an MTP which has happened. So what they are taking? Generativeness. Okay. So now when you have read up to here, you're not clear which chapter this belongs to. Your mind is working now. In case of non-compliance, hefty fines may be imposed on the company. Now your mind will go, see, definitely interest students will not think now. Why is essay 250 is applicable? Because it is not part of their syllabus. But your mind starts thinking when reading, are they trying to ask me on something on essay 250? Because they said that some regulatory compliances are there, which has got hefty penalty. Now the engagement partner from the audit firm for the audit of heavy industries, CAP is the engagement partner. Now CAP planned that he would inquire from the IT head of the company about the maintenance of the digital database to identify and assess the risk of non-compliance with the regulatory guidelines. Okay, somewhere no, your mind is telling this is 250 question, 250 question. Why? Because you saw that there is one there is one regulation applicable to them. Okay, no CLAV comes into picture now. So you decided to perform some risk assessment procedure. What is that risk assessment procedure? Inquiry with the management and the IT team, others. So you decided to go. So in light of the facts, explain, are you required to consider about maintenance of digital while framing strategy? See the twist, in the question. Now, or maybe they can ask you, are you supposed to do this? So, since they said audit strategy here, it is not 250 they are asking essay 300. Should you consider this above activity like planning to make an inquiry? And whether the procedure planned by CA are in line with SA 300. Now it is very crystal clear for you that in terms of SA 300 you need to talk. Now what is SA 300? It is chapter number 3, concept number 1. But in concept number 1, there are 4 sub-concepts: planning, strategy, program, execution. Now what is that they are asking? Are they asking from this particular thing? No, they are talking here about the nature, timing, extent of the planning and all, but they specifically told strategy, so your mind should go to the second concept. Now second concept has got 5 elements in it. So what is that they are trying to ask from me? Are they asking my characteristics of the engagement? Yes. Or are they asking reporting requirement? Have they told that auditor is to maintain, but auditor has to report something? No, they are not told. Nature, timing of resources, so I don't have any extra work here, okay, to be done. Okay, so now what I find that this question may be related to the first part called you're establishing the overall strategy, and there you have to consider the characteristics. Now you say that audit strategy is defining the scope, timing, direction. Okay, an auditor is supposed to identify the characteristics of the engagement that define the scope. Now the characteristics of the engagement is such that you have got a regulatory requirement which has put some extra work on you, or it has increased the risk. In that case, yes, Audit CA should incorporate the assessment of digital database into overall strategy as part of your understanding the characteristics of the engagement. So you are going to get 3 marks. Then, second question they asked you, whether the procedure planned by CA is in line with this. Yes. Now, planning includes needs to consider prior to the identification, general understanding of the legal and regulatory requirement. Now, which is that they are asking here. Okay, so they are asking for the planned, whether the procedure planned by CA are in line with this. Okay, so now you have actually planned a procedure. See, at a strategy level, you decide from the resource point of view. At a planning level, you talk about the execution point of view or your procedure point of view. Now, are you supposed to plan these procedures? Okay, for this, I have to take back in your study material only. Yesterday we discussed it. What consideration includes in the planning? Okay, it includes performing analytical procedures as part of the risk assessment procedure and obtaining general understanding of the legal and regulatory framework. Okay, so the planning includes it. Your understanding, obtaining legal, and that's the same language, same point they have written here. So planning includes obtaining general understanding of the legal framework. So what he has done, it is perfect. He should have included as part of the strategy, because it's going to affect his, it will primarily affect his characteristics of the engagement. And the inquiry what he had planned to do, yes, it is also correct, because he has to obtain that understanding. And any student could have written an alternative answer also. Okay, but one more thing, you should be rest assured, all the questions are not like this. It's a mixture. But this is how they can ask you questions on this. They expect you not just to remember it. Remembering is one of the points, which is very easy. Another thing is applications. You see fantastic question for application, where you have to apply the different concepts of what you have learned. You have learned about planning, you learned about strategy. Now, when planning is going to work, when the strategy has to be done, that clear picture should be there in your mind. And I really requesting you, see, if you're not clear, please ask me. Make me to work. I can definitely give you much more clarity in your thinking, students. That's my confidence. Because if I sit to work now, I get so many fantastic ideas automatically, because I have already spent sufficient amount of time on these topics, these subjects. So you tell me how you want to understand these subjects better. Okay. So we are done with the first part. Any 4 points you can write, or in this question, one independent questions can come, or you can see how they can ask you one of the point or 2 points they can select and you can ask. I got you got a perspective. The second is reporting objective, timing of the audit, and nature of the communications. Now, what is your entity's timetable for reporting? Now, first thing you have broadly discussed, okay, what to do, previous experience, okay, should I outsource it? What is my religion talking? What is my practices talking? Okay. Second is, what is my timeline? Okay, some people know have the engagement this year, marriage next year. Some people will have engagement today, marriage within 15 days. So, this is what you need to consider second now. What is my timetable now? By when we have to finish something? Similarly, in audit, see, we have got some timetables. Tax audit has to be filed by so and so date. Okay, banking company audit starts like by 7 days you have to finish. By 1 month LFR has to be filed. Right? You have got your own timelines there. So accordingly, you have to plan now. Okay, because for if you have got a bank branch audit, the branch audit report has to be finished, say, within 10 days. Now, entire resource has to be focused there. So, this is what you need to consider while you are planning to allocate the resource. Now, how the organization of the meeting should happen with the management to coordinate the work, that also you need to plan now. Okay, when those meetings should happen, should I do meet now or should I meet regularly? Discussion with the management about the time and the, because we are not only talking about reporting objective, but we are talking about nature of communications also, with whom I should talk. Like say, maybe you will decide, no, if I have to book a hall, when should I go and talk to the hall of people? Should I wait till last? No, immediately I'll go. Okay, I have to buy some gold. When should I go to a jeweler? That you can delay. Okay, like caterer, you may book later. See, these are all the things you decide. Like what should be the nature, when we should talk, by when we should complete. Discussion with the management about the nature, timing of the reports required. Like later, no, they should not come and later. This also one more requirement was there. This type of report was also required. No, first only you talk to them. Discuss about the communication of the status of the audit work, how it should happen. Communication with the component auditors. Okay, rest everything is very easy, students. All communication only. Meeting, communication. You see, communication with the management, communication with the component auditors, communication with the team members, and communication with the third parties. Like for example, are you supposed to talk to RBI? Are you supposed to talk to, say, for example, your SEBI? So these are all the things you have to consider as part of the reporting object. Okay, now we will go to one very fantastic question. I believe this is that fantastic question. No, next question is the fantastic. Okay, anyhow, we'll see this question. MTP July 24, in the intermediate, they asked you one question. The ascertaining of the reporting objective, give examples. Very clean question which has appeared in MTP April 24. And I always tell you, okay, that these questions are the plain questions. They can come in a different form. Auditor shall take into considering reporting objective. Okay, very good. Somewhere gem, like same question came as it is. So as to plan the timing of different audit procedure and also nature of communication while establishing the strategy. Give 4 instances of reporting objective. Straightforward question you have written. Any 4 you can write. Very easy. Yes. Now comes the significant matters, factors. Okay. The third thing what you need to consider is the significant factors, preliminary engagement activities, and knowledge gained from other engagements. Like for example, you attended somebody's marriage. Now there you saw something happening. You got an experience. That's I can say knowledge gain on other engagements. That means when you have gone somewhere else, you have performed something else, you have got certain acquired some learning. So that you have to consider right now. Okay. Now, what should be the materiality as per 320? This is one of the significant factors which is going to define your resource. Because if you set the low materiality, your audit efforts are too much. If you set the high materiality, audit effort is less. Now, preliminary identification of the areas of having high ROMM. If you preliminarily identified big ROMM cases like fintech company, big amount of resources, sudden jump in the revenue from 750 crores to 1000 crores. Now your resources will be very high now. Impact of ROMM on overall financial statement level. Okay, but if you have got an overall risk now, overall financial statement level ROMM, then I told you that Gabbar Singh case, what best you can do is direction, supervision and review. Bring unpredictability. So those things also you need to consider. Do I have any overall risk at the statement level? Is CEO committing fraud there? Now, this is going to become one very significant factor for you. Because if you find that the integrity of the CEO is not okay, who is the management, please understand he is not a DCWG, then your ROMM at the statement level is very high. So you have to be very careful. Then the manner in which engagement team members need to maintain the skepticism and a questioning mind. Okay, so that also you need to consider. Results of the previous audits, identified deficiencies, discussion of the matter with the firm personnel responsible for performing other services to the entity. Okay, that means we already saw that there's a client relationship. Relationship means already some type of services you have been giving. Now comes the audit service. Okay, now you need to consider like how I need to, what I should tell to that other person. Okay, anyhow, they are not independence issues they are talking, because if it is an independence issue, you would have rejected either audit or other engagement. Okay, so now what should be the discussing, what matters you should discuss with them, what information you need to take from them. Okay, I can say something like one of your relatives is working in the catering company. So don't you talk to them first only to understand certain things. Now, evidence of management's commitment to the design implementation of the controls you need to consider. Volume of transactions, say 750 crores to 1000 crores jump, that you need to consider as part of significant matter. Importance given to the internal control, because if importance is not given, then your efforts are going to increase. Significant business developments happen, like India's get become applicable. Okay, mergers and acquisitions happen. So these are all going to increase your effort. Industry specific developments happen in the economic environments. Okay, some like war happened. Okay, your FEMA rules got changed. Significant changes in the financial reporting framework, like India's became applicable, India's 116 came, old standard there is scrapped, and other significant developments such as changes in the legal regulatory environment. Okay, so now let us see, based on this, how they can ask you one question in the examination. You see, students, Subodh has recently joined an audit as an article clerk. Okay, let him join. He was in the process of assembling audit working papers in audit file. So this gives an impression, are they talking about, say, 230? Because this question can be related to that. Now, as per the instructions of his senior, fine. While assembling, he noticed the following working papers in the file. Okay, one of the working paper he noticed. And the heading of the notice is timing of audit activities. Now, that it went like this: audit planning. When they are supposed to complete, say 1st July 2023 to 5th July. So 4 days. Review by the EQCR, July 6 to July 7. Then comes the field work. Okay, this is your planning work. In the field work, review should happen by so and so date. Review by the engagement partner should happen by so and so day. Review by EQCR should happen by so and so day. Now, you have to prepare one draft audit memo where you have to come with your observation, hand over that observations to the TCWG as per SA 260. Now, what is their responses? Okay, that internal response post memo and all should happen by so and so. EQCR should finally review by so and so date, and finalization of the audit report, okay, should happen, and finally issue should have report should happen by the September 3rd, 2023. So what is this? This is typically an audit program. An audit program will look like this. So what he came across? He came across one audit working paper, which is an audit program, which is part of the documentation. Now, you see the question, what they can ask you. Above working paper list certain factors which are to be considered while establishing audit strategy. So the keyword here is establishing of the audit strategy, and that two factors. Explain how this consideration highlighted would have helped the auditor. This is a beautiful question, students. Fantastic question. What level? Intermediate level. You see the expectation what they have got on them. So they want you to go more deeper and see, understand here. See, what is the catch here? What is the point? They have seen one audit program now. Now, in this audit program, there are so many factors are considered. So many points have been written. The above paper lists certain factors which are considered. Here, it's not that we are not pinpointing that there is a problem with someone. Everybody has done the work perfectly. Okay. So which is that factor which is reflecting and how it's going to help? Okay. So now, since the keyword for you is the audit strategy, in audit strategy, there are 5 elements. Characteristics of the engagement. Now, does it talk anything about the characteristics of the engagement here? Have they told you anything? No, they are talking about the timing here. Have they told you which financial reporting framework is applicable? Are we supposed to do third party reporting, or for this industry, this is the requirement? Have they told anything on that? They have not told anything on that. Okay. So now, what is the second thing? Your reporting objectives. Now in the reporting object, yes, you have told about the timelines for reporting, like issuance of the audit report. You have spoken about it. Okay, so we have got this. And there are some significant factors also we have not spoken. So one of the factors to be considered while planning the ascertain is the planning and timing of the communications required. See, they have spoken about the communication. Okay, when the review should happen. Okay, when EQCR should talk, when they have to complete, and when this memo, see, communication of the audit memo, internally post response to the audit memo. So this is what they are talking. And then they have some of the instances are timetable for reporting, meetings, expected timing of the report, discussion with the management, expected nature, timing of the communication, etc. So they have asked, so you have to put all these points from the different aspects in the given working paper. Okay, so primarily what we are talking about the significant reporting objective like meeting and communication plus significant factors. Okay, so have they told impact of the assessment of skepticism, results of the previous audit, discussion of the matter? No, I think, yeah, this question is primarily related to the reporting objectives, huh? Because they are talking about the reporting objectives and the communications. So primarily the timing talks about the communication. So you are going to fetch this mark, and then how it's going to help? It will help plan timing of different audit procedures, okay, and different nature of communication is going to help you. I hope it's clear, students. Yes, we can pause this video for 1 minute, take some break, then we'll do some small mind mapping for the factors what we have identified. Okay, so we'll start. Yeah, before we start with the mind map, just only 2 points are left. We can discuss that. The next one is nature, timing of the resources required, where you talk about the selection of the engagement team and the budgeting. Yeah, preliminary engagement activities they have included here only, considering the preliminary engagement activities they have added here, which includes your previous audit results. Okay, this is what one point they have added here. I think only 4 points they have given in this selection of the team and the preparing of the budget. If you go to the original point, you have got 5 points. In that fifth point is this considering the preliminary engagement activities, what knowledge you gained in other engagement. Yeah, this point they have added here as part of this. You can write it separately also, or you can have the, you can write, maybe you can write it separately. Okay, so chalo, let us start with the mind map. So we have to write the, we are writing about the 4 stages there. Point number B, audit strategy. The first one is audit planning. Or overall audit strategy. You can call it as a overall audit strategy. So what does my overall audit strategy is including? Okay, first thing, we will talk about 2 elements here. Factors. And second is benefits. What are the benefits you are going to get by establishing overall audit strategy? One, quality of resource. Quantity of resource. Timing of resource. See, it's very easy to remember, no? If they ask you. And management of resource. These are all the 4 benefits of having audit strategy. So figure out the keyword and you can. So what are the factors you have to consider? One, characteristics of engagement. When you talk about the characteristics of the engagement, what are the sub factors? FRF, financial reporting framework. Then industry specific requirements. number of number and location of components. Okay, see, like just like number of relatives and their location of the relatives. Effect of IT. Use of service organization. Enough. Any 5 points are sufficient. So there are so many points. Any 5 points will be sufficient, and I hope you are clear with every single point. You don't have any doubts. You should ask me if any of the points you are not clear. The second one, reporting objective. When you talk about reporting objective, first of all comes plus communication. Reporting objective and communication. Reporting, communicating. Timetable for reporting. Meeting with management. Then communication. Yeah, when you talk about communication, your communication can be, again, it can be with the easy to remember component auditor. Is we each are points only. Team, third part. That's it. Very simple. And we can plot the third point here. Significant factors. Okay, what are the significant factors you need to consider? Materiality, the amount of perfection, high ROMM areas, high risk areas you have to consider. Overall FS level risk, financial statement level risk, because you need better team, better supervision. This is all going to cost you. So if this is one of the significant factor. If you have identified an financial statement level fraud, statement level risk, so you need a better team now. Volume of transaction, importance to internal control, business developments. Like for example, one competitor came. Yes, that's one of the significant factors you have to consider, because A lot of resources should go for going concern assessment now. Change in financial reporting framework. Okay, you need now people who have understood Ind AS 116. Okay, so the next one, the point number 4. Result of preliminary engagement activities. So what you have got as a result of preliminary engagement activities? And the last one, NTE of resources, which includes your selection of team and budget. That's it. I hope it's clear. You understood these points. So now we will move on and see further what are your other concepts. What is the next thing? Okay, after you are done with the audit strategy, yes, you have to document the audit plan. When we are document the plan, there are 3 elements, because we already discussed when we talk about a plan, it's called overall strategy and audit plan. What does your overall strategy includes? It includes 5 elements: characteristics, reporting objective and communication, significant factors, preliminary engagement activity, result of preliminary engagement activity, and nature, timing, extent of resources. There are 5 elements. Audit plan includes 3 elements: nature, timing, extent of risk assessment procedure, nature, timing, extent of further audit procedure, and other, or nature, timing, extent of other audit procedure. So what you need to document? You need to document the strategy, a plan, and if any changes have occurred to that plan, you have to document that changed plan and the reasons for such changes. So these are the 3 things you need to document. With this, actually your SA 300 ends. So SA 300 is a very small standard. Okay, it starts with what is the objective of standard. So standard has got 2 elements: this strategy, plan, document, finish. So the audit program, execution, these are all things are not discussed. Again, I'm telling, please understand from where things comes. SA 300 actually ends here. But what Board of Studies they have done, they have organized this SA 300 in the form of 4 stages: audit plan, audit strategy, audit program, audit execution. Now, after this particular element, these are all coming from the Board of Studies only. They have only added here. Now, how the documentation is going to assist the auditor? Okay, for this, no, we need to understand the very basic nature of, like, what is the purpose of documentation. Okay, at the intermediate level you must have learned, but again I just try to touch upon that point. What is document? What is document? Document is one document, correct, right? It's one piece of paper or something which gives what? Which gives a proof. Okay, what exactly it is? I'll give an example to you students. See, for example, Karnataka government has come with the rule that if you are a poor person, then you will be given rice at rupees 1 per kg. Now, I want to get this benefit. So what should I do? So I should look poor, right? Okay, so how the poor will look like? For example, they don't wear suits and all, right? So they will wear one work. Okay, I will wear one very torn out clothes and all. I'll put some mud to my face. Okay, okay, not telling anything like its posts don't look like this. I'm just giving an example, analogy. Now I will go to the municipality office with this getup. By looking at me only, somebody will understand I don't have anything because my getup is like that. Now I'll go and tell them, sir, there's one rice bhagya is there. Please give me that. Will they give me? No. First thing they ask me, what is the proof that you are poor? because my appearance can be deceiving. So what they're looking from me, they want one card called a BPL card. Now, if the moment I tender the BPL card, they will give me that benefit. Okay. Alternatively, okay. So suppose, for example, if I don't have this BPL card, I'm actually poor. Just because I don't have BPL card, is it that I have become rich? No. By my very nature, I'm poor only. But what BPL card will give, BPL card will have is a proof of your poverty. Please understand, friends. You doesn't have that BPL card, that does not mean you're not done that. But it's a proof that you have done it. So tomorrow you need, otherwise what happen now? I have to go and talk to 4 people now, fall to their leg and say, give me one recommendation letter because municipality is not trusting me. They're not looking at my getup and they are not giving me. So please give me that evidence. Please tell them that I'm poor. See, all this could have been avoided. Imagine the person comes in the car wearing suit and gives this BPL card. Now, the moment that municipality officer sees the one who has given the BPL card, they get very surprised because the person has come by car, that too wearing suits, and is give me 1 rupee kg. Now, you tell me, students, can that municipality officer reject and say, I will not give you because by the very look you doesn't look like poor? No. That's why always documentation is very important. See, you write the test, you are writing. See, are you making this mind map? Okay, are you writing the test? What they are? They are all documentation of evidence that you are sitting and preparing. That if it is not there, that does not mean you are not preparing. Please understand. When you don't have the mind map, that does not mean you didn't prepare. But tomorrow, if you want to tell someone that, look, sir, I have done my preparation very well, I say, what is the proof? Who knows? Then you show me, sir, look, sir, this is my mind map. This is my concept notes. This is the Q&A I have verified. See, we have got a lot of marks here on the every Q&A. We have got a lot of marks. I am saving this because this is the documentation for me that I have gone through this. See, everywhere where points I have told. At the end, I can show you, look, this is what we have discussed. Imagine instead it looks like this plane. Now, what is the proof that we have ever touched this? See, I always, if anybody is asking me preparation, first I'll say, show me your book, audit textbook. Okay, on the right, when you see the book, no, everything is white, crystal clear. That means we understand that this person has not touched on it. Because the moment somebody starts preparing, it becomes dark. The more you revise, it becomes so much darker. Some pages are too much dark because you have verified. See, these are all the proof that you have done something. Now, why documenting is important? Please understand, because I'm giving one logic to remember. When you talk about the advantages of audit documentation, one, see, primarily you document 3 things. Strategy. Now, what is the advantage of documenting the strategy? Because it will act as a record of key decisions taken. Like, why did you decided to do this? Why did you selected that open ground instead of marriage hall? What is the rationale behind giving outsourcing this to so and so caterer? So all those decisions would be seen, like the rationale for such decision will be seen when you have documented the strategy. Otherwise, no, you don't know only why you are taking these decisions, why you are planning. Second, what is the advantage of documenting the plan? Because plan will show you the nature, timing, and extent of the risk assessment procedures and further audit procedures. Like, it will serve as a record or a proof that you have actually planned. The auditor may use a standard audit program or a completion checklist also. Like, what is the standard audit program? See, the standard audit program may look like this. This is your standard audit program. Or it can have one checklist. You will put tick, yeah, this is done. This is done. This is done. See that? That's also a plan. Huh? So you do the way you wanted to do, but all these things gives an evidence. Like, don't you have that checklist, friends? I told you. We had, no, yesterday I told you that you need to have a 2-column, okay, and you need to write day 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to write a score. See, the moment you give me this one photo of this, no, I exactly understand. Say, out of 60 days, How many days you have sat and wrote the homework at home? So these are all the evidences can document, okay, you are doing something. So that's why we need documentation. And third thing, why I should document the changes? Okay, because it will also act as a record for reasons of the change in the plan and the strategy. Like why some changes were made. And after these changes, have you changed the strategy and the plan? Okay, so now here we have got two questions in the final, test your knowledge 1 and test your understanding 1 and 3. And inter also we have got two questions. Let us see both the questions first at the inter level. With the related to documentation, what they say. The auditor need to direct the efforts of the team engagement in the matters of establishing overall audit strategy. Give 3 examples, okay, factors affecting the team members. See, this is one of the questions we missed previously, because there was one more thing called the significant factors. P Limited is a company appointed their auditors. The auditors are establishing the audit strategy. Okay, 5 points should come to your mind. They came to know that the company has diversified its business and now they are planning to get into manufacturing and wooden business. The auditor in his professional judgment considered this to be a significant factor in directing the engagement team effort. See the keywords. Give the examples of factors in the judgment are significant in team effort. See, when they have asked you like this, you have to specifically write about the team efforts only, like volume of transaction, industry development, changes in the reporting, changes in the legal reporting. But if you see here, they diversified into new. Okay, if they would not have given you this, they say what you have understood with this from the audit strategy point of view. You can say change in the characteristics. Why? Because they are diversified. Now component auditors may come into picture. ROMM might have increased because this is the first time you are diversified into that business. It is a new business for you. You may have to change the materiality level. There's so many points you can attach, students. Why? Because it's the first time audit of that particular diversified entity. So this is how they can ask you question. Now, Subhendu is a statutory auditor. Due to change in the information technology regulations, the regulations got changed to constitute the grievance redressal mechanism. Okay, so now what happened? Like we have seen already, ombudsman. Ombudsman is a grievance redressal mechanism now. Now, the change in the information technology regulation has happened, and they said that you have to establish one grievance mechanism. Failure to comply can lead to civil and criminal liabilities against the company. Now, is above factor to be considered while filing the strategy? The answer is yes. Which point you need to consider here? You can tell that I will consider the changes in the laws and regulations. Allowed, no? So this is what you can see. And we can also attach this from the point of revenue recognition, because if somebody has filed a grievance, you say I will consider that grievance and see whether the related revenue has been recognized or have you made sufficient provisions or not. Yes. Now, auditor shall develop the audit plan. What it should include? Nature, timing, extent. Okay, we will proceed further. Okay, so we will move on now. We will go to the final questions. Okay, please take your final question. Now, XWL Limited is engaged in dealing with the commodity futures trading based in Surat. Now, CAP is from Delhi. The company is in Surat. He is the auditor. Auditor did not even once visit the office of the company and failed to understand the nature of the business of the company, which is very important from SA 315 perspective. So you have to go to the client's location to understand what is happening there, how the business is organized, what they are doing. Yeah, because it can so happen, students. See, one of the case, one real incident which happened. They showed, like we only see this, Rajesh Exports. To give you the example of Rajesh Exports, how they were organized. See, Rajesh Exports is in India, and there is one auditor. We will talk later also. SA 600 also we will talk about this particular case. This is an auditor. This particular thing has got one subsidiary in China, sorry, Singapore, which is your 100% subsidiary. And this Singapore subsidiary has got one subsidiary in, say, Mauritius. This is called a step down subsidiary or a sub-subsidiary. Now, who are the auditors of this? KPMG. This is what happened, really happened. Now, majority portion of your revenues are coming from this Mauritius, that subsidiary, which is SEBI is claiming that 15 lakh crore revenue is fictitious. It is not should have been recognized. Now, imagine this is what happened in one case in China, that one big amount of reporting was coming from the subsidiary, but in reality, there was no subsidiary only. They had shown we had a factory and all, but when the auditor went to that location, he saw it's the plain barren land. There is nothing. Then they came to know this is the fraudulent financial reporting. It could be anything like that, no? Because auditor is somewhere, someone different. Okay, KPMG is bit, okay, we know KPMG, but what if some other person would have issued the audit report from that Mauritius? Okay, how this auditor should take care? Okay, first thing here, he didn't go. All the papers and account books were received by the email. God knows what is the authenticity. And the audit also was concluded, not even going there, okay, with the digital evidences. And today, you know, digital evidence it is easy to create. There were also included his working papers checklist, which is required of test of checking of the cost of raw material consumed and cost of stores and spares. There was nothing in the working paper showing understanding of the nature of the business of the company. What does it reflect upon planning of audit by CAP? See the final questions. Now, what is this going to reflect? It reflects poor planning. Absolutely poor planning. No planning at all. Because you need to establish the overall strategy and you need to document the overall strategy. You need to document the plan. And we see that there is nothing has been documented. And he seems he doesn't have any understanding. So again, the planning of the audit should be depending upon the size and complexity. It sounds that this organization is into some different business. Okay, it is engaged in the commodity future trading. Can you imagine how much risky it is? And working papers do not show its understanding. So inclusion of a checklist is not sufficient. It shows that he has never understood that audit has been planned. So you have not achieved the objective of SA 300. So this is how you can write the answer. So this is what it reflects. So that's why answer is a bit tricky. That's why I marked it as a priority one. The next question. Okay, and you see here the same question they have given in chapter 16. Test your understanding one, where the correct answer is provided. Here there is no relationship with the question asked and the, okay, forget it. This comment was old question comment. You can forget it. Now test your understanding 3. CA Nikita is conducting the audit of a leading society engaged in promoting awareness about the usefulness of internet among the disadvantaged section of the society. The society is also registered under FCRA, danger, foreign country contribution. Who knows now this particular society may be created by somebody to launder the money from foreign country. Now, during the course, she embarked upon extensive procedures related to the verification of receipts from foreign country contribution to rule out the round tripping in comparison with the procedure original sought. So once she didn't thought about it, but since the society got registered and she saw that there was extensive procedure will be involved, okay, now she has to consider it. She document how various procedures were performed. However, she doesn't feel need to put in writing about how she has planned the whole exercise. Does she require refreshing her knowledge? Absolutely yes. And we tell please go and read SA 300 because SA 300 talks about the documentation. When there is no documentation, that does not mean that she has not planned her work. See, she's planning, she's rethinking to do the verification, she's thinking that round tripping type of risk is identified. Fantastic, she's a fantastic auditor, no doubt. But tomorrow when the NAFRA is going to call her and asking her, how did you do this? Now, how she will explain now? That if she will say, I have done, I have thought about it, that is not sufficient. You need to have a documentation. So it's the plan is the record that you have planned your nature, timing, extent, etc. And if you have changed it because of FCRA and all, you need to document that. So failure to document entails the risk of not conducting the audit as per professional. I hope it's clear. Yes. Now, what is the relationship between, okay, we'll see one last point here. What is the relationship between overall strategy and a plan, because in the concept number 1 we have seen the plan and we have seen now audit strategy. This question I asked you first, who is important? Always and always strategy is important. Both are important. But you have got a plan without a strategy. It's like a firing in the darkness. Always the plan follows the strategy. This is the relationship they are talking about. Now, how you should write this in the examination? The audit strategy is prepared before the audit plan, but in the study material they have given it that they may be the but they have put strategy after the audit plan. Leave it. Anyhow, you understood now. The audit plan will be more detailed than the strategy, because strategy talks about the high level things, only 5 things. But the plan is including nature, timing, extent, like how I'm going to do it, when I'm going to do it. So if I have decided to book a hall, that is a part of my strategy. Now I need to plan now, when should I go to book a hall? Now which catering I should select, that is my plan, that is my strategy. When should I go? What should I talk? That is my plan. So plan is more detailed, which is a sub part of your strategy. Audit strategy and plan are interrelated, because the moment you change one, another will change. Like you may decide not to book a hall, but to conduct this marriage in one temple. So previously you had planned that go and talk to the hall manager on so and so date. That is no more relevant to you. Now you have to go and talk to the temple authorities. Your plan will change. So they are interrelated and it is going to change. Like for example, and they can ask you this example in the exam as a case study. Please be understand and please mark this very important relationship. There is no examination question there. Now, Sam already developed a strategy and he detailed the developed plan also he developed. Okay, she decided that the materiality level set earlier needs to be lowered because she identified some weakness in the internal control. So when you are executing something, you found some internal control weakness. So previously what you had done, when planning the strategy, you trusted that controls are good. So you decided to do less of substantive procedures. See, because of your belief in the internal control, the strategy level, the plan was decided in such a way, you are going to perform more of test of controls and less of substantive procedures. And when you perform less of substantive procedure, your audit efforts are reduced. Followed, no? Okay, maybe I can relate it to the same thing. I trusted you initially. I thought not to do the test because I'm thinking, okay, you are regularly doing test for yourself, you are doing so and so. But the moment I figure out the weakness, should I not change my strategy now? I have to change the strategy and go more into substantive procedure. And if I go into more into substantive procedure, my plan also has to change now. So the deviation from the audit strategy was felt necessary. Therefore, Sam would first modify the strategy and then revise the plan based on the revised strategy. Okay, and strategy provides the guidelines which gives the scope for the conduct of the procedures. However, plan is going to give you the detailed nature, timing, extent. When I talk about nature, TOC or substantive procedure, when and how much, how many samples I may have to select for TOC or substantive procedure, or should I do 100%? The overall strategy and plan should take into consideration materiality, also its relationship with the risk and procedure. That means what is the materiality level I have set? What is the risk I have identified? What audit procedures I am going to perform? Okay, so this is all about your audit strategy. Okay, let us conclude this second concept here. Relationship, because we are done with this. Relationship, another concept of strategy with plan. See, they have given you in the study material in the form of a para. Okay, you will always say point number 1, strategy is prepared first. Plan is more detailed. In the examination, they can ask you distinguish between strategy and plan. Please understand, students, Distinguish is different from differentiate. Huh? Be careful. Okay, I'll help you right now, because some place the final level they are not interested, but intermediate level they were very much fond. But anyhow, in final also you can face this problem. See, when I say differentiate, which is and distinguish, what is the difference between the two? See, in always differentiate, no, it goes like this. You will pick one point, and then you say how these points are different. Like, what is the difference between an employed and unemployed? Okay, income. Employed will have monthly income, unemployed will have no income. Now, if I ask you the same question, differentiate between an employed and unemployed, you will not pick this same point and talk. You can talk, you can say like this: employed person has got more financial freedom, unemployed person has got more time freedom. So you talk from their perspective. What unemployed person has got? He has got so much free time. He can pursue whatever he wants to do. Employed person doesn't have a free time, but he has got so much of cash. Did you saw how did you differentiate, distinguish now? That's right. Distinguish means what is distinct for them. What is distinct for them? Difference means how they are different from each other. So generally, students, these verbs are not given so much importance if the examination goes difficult. But if the examination is easier, then institute may give importance for these verbs also. That's why always let us understand: analyze, examine, comment, as per relevant standard, differentiate, distinguish, and then we will try to give our answer accordingly. Okay, now what they may ask you? They may ask you distinguish. So you say that plan is more detailed, strategy is prepared first, then strategy provides scope. Plan required for SAAE, sufficient appropriate audit evidence, because procedures only have to be performed. Then point number 5, you have to tell strategy, okay, or I can simply say interrelated, because we know whom we are talking. Interrelated. Change in one, all for change in other. So if you change the plan, you may have to change the strategy. If you change the strategy, you may have to change the plan. And this is the example they have given. So what got changed? Plan got changed, because during the planning then they understood something, that this is not applicable. So they changed the strategy and came with the revised. Okay, that's it. This is the relationship, or this is the distinction between strategy with the plan. So next, point number 2 you can write. So point number 3, audit program. Yes, sir. So next class we will discuss. Yeah, I thought of completing this today, okay, in this session. But you see, how many points are there, how much things relevant, like what you need to understand in detail. So I hope, students, I have explained to you in a detailed way. You understood it. Thank you. So we'll meet in the next class.